it gives me absolutely the amount of pleasure this gives me is amazing. To welcome Max Cavalera to my podcast. Welcome, Max.
How are you, man? Good to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm good. Like I said just before I hit record, massive fan. I've followed Soulfly since the start. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I was fortunate enough to be at your first London show, with Limp Bizkit and Cold as your support.
Right. Yeah.
And I even have, like, my wife said you've got to show him, but I've even got the merch I bought from the show still.
Oh wow, those pants. Yeah.
The cargo shorts. And they still fit, which is amazing. And I got that signed by Cold as well at the same show.
Yeah, those pants are living proof of Soulfly's new metal era.
Oh, totally. And I was all about the new metal. That was my thing. And it still is now, to be perfectly honest with you. I still go back and dabble, and I find new bands that are doing this sort of thing now, which is great. But yeah, no, it's totally my era. It hit me. Well, that hit me around about when I was 18. So I was still getting my favorite music into me, all that kind of stuff. And seeing you at the Astoria with I think you had Logan Madder on guitar, and it was, I can't remember the rest. It was Roy McGuire on drums, I believe. But obviously Limp Bizkit as well at that point with $3 Bill, and Cold, and that just like absolutely fantastic lineup.
Was it did Fred came up and did Bleed with us?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And no, it was really good because that album you had, going back before we talk about your new album, you had Fred on that album. You had Chino, you have Grady, Benji as well. Yep, Benji from Skid Dread and Dub War. And fantastic debut album. Totally, like, it did fall into that kind. I know you guys never really sort of, I guess, saw yourself as a new metal band, but it really kind of hit that heavier side of that genre, which was welcomed at the time, because a lot of it was going sort of, I don't like the word mainstream. It was becoming more consumable, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy it, man. It's like what I like about my career is I got to experience so many phases of metal, so not many people can say that or do that. I started with a lot of obscure black metal with early Sepultura, and then hugely moving to more death metal, thrash metal territory. And then groove came in with Chaos AD, and then Roots, of course, became with, like, listen to the Korn and Deftones. And by the time I made first Soulfly record, I was immersed on the simplicity and hooks of some of the new metal way of making riffs, which is even today I feel it's very primal, it's very very raw, especially when you have songs like Eye for an Eye. Pretty much 2 or 3 chords on the whole song. But it's so strong and it's so primal and really very, very raw, and it hits you hard. And the guests on those records, especially the first 2, we having everybody that you mentioned on Soulfly 1, and on Primitive we went off the hook with Sean Lennon, Tom Araya, Corey Taylor. We had Chino again. It was incredible time. I'm just kind of a musician, being lucky enough to experience all these phases of metal. It's great.
No, it's absolutely amazing. I was going to ask, like, how that has, like, sort of shaped your music, because obviously I remember Nail Bomb, I remember Sepultura, I remember that Chaos AD, I remember Roots. I remember when you brought that sort of tribal sound into a raw sort of thrash death metal sound. And you followed that into Soulfly as well. A lot of the stuff on that first album keeps going through, actually, most of your album, you've got that kind of like primitive rawness that you were talking about there, where it's just very sort of like tribalistic drums, very sort of simple riffs, but heavy, big riffs, that sort of the driving riffs, if you will. Like with a lot of like tribal and that sort of music, it's very driven. It's just sort of like constant, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it, because it was different from what I was listening to primarily, which was, you know, Korn, Deftones, Limp Bizkit, all those bands of that era. And then you did that track with Deftones as well. You did Head Up, which obviously Soulfly came out of. Hence your words in it. But I was just, you know, just like following you throughout the years, and just watching you, like with Cavalera Conspiracy, with I had your son on the show last year, Go Ahead and Die, Amadeus, and just like listening to stuff like that you've worked on, and you've been part, like I say, you've been part of this whole, not just one movement, but multiple movements of metal.
That's what I'm most proud of it. I think it's like I got to experience just different movements, phases of metal, and then to me, yeah, in a weird way, Totem to me feels very much like a celebration of all those movements in one record. Even though it's less tribal than, let's say, Primitive.
Yeah.
But it's there. If you listen, especially if you listen to it in headphones, there's many songs where the percussion is buried underneath the massive sound. It's because it's a massive sounding record. It has an old school feeling. It was done on purpose. The production with Arthur and the way the songs were created, but it was we did percussion on it, and it's in there, and the grooves are in there. I think especially the song Totem has a heavy, almost like, I think the opening riff is pretty much from the new metal era of riffs. I think that's what I was trying to do, was maybe a celebration of all my eras in one record, and that's quite difficult to do it.
Yeah.
And end up felt a little bit more like an old school type record, but the original idea was a celebration of all my career in one record, and it's going to be Soulfly's 12th record, and let's try to put on, and I think I like to look at this record as side A and side B, like a vinyl, kind of looking at it as a vinyl fan.
Yeah.
So side A is very energetic to me. Is one of the most powerful side A's I ever done in my whole career, including Sepultura. And then side B is much more adventurous and much more kind of like, there's songs like Soulfly 12 that's very, I'm drawing inspiration by gothic stuff like Cure, Sisters of Mercy, which were big influence even in the Sepultura days. I love Sisters of Mercy, The Mission UK, you know, and then you have Spirit Animal, which is like a 10-minute song, like almost like Soulfly meets Neurosis or something, you know. Definitely like a journey in a song, a whole journey into one song.
Yeah, definitely.
So Totem is pretty, it's ambitious in his own way, you know, like it's an ambitious project in his own way, but I think it's I fell in love with the way this record was made. Very warm feeling stores, the nostalgic of some of the songwritings of the fast songs, and the experimental stuff on side B was also really fun to make. So overall, no regrets, man. You know, I just love, in fact, I'm blown away that I'm alive and I'm still enjoying playing music. You know, that's like mind blowing. At my age, most people lose interest by then. It's like, done. I'm done with this, you know. But not me. I'm still very much in love with and passionate about metal.
No, that's amazing. I mean, like, I mean, you can tell throughout because you keep doing things as well. So it's not like you've stopped, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's one of
I mean,
those.
it's been 4 years since Ritual, which is a
Yeah,
long, probably one of the Soulfly's longest gaps.
yeah.
But I did Killer BQ and Go Ahead and Die in the meantime.
Yeah, I was going to say you've done that as well, and obviously we had the whole world shut down for 2 years as well. So
yeah, all of that culminated into this 4 year period. But
yeah,
I think that's a good thing to have these 4 years between records. And of course, we have uh, band changing. We had Mark Rizzo.
yeah,
We let him go, and I had an opportunity to play with Dino from Fear Factory
yeah,
and using the guys from Eternal Champion on the solos. Uh, yeah, man, I think I love the stuff I do. I love Killer BQ. I love Go Ahead and Die. I really, really enjoy those projects, and takes time to make those records, and maybe that's why it took 4 years for Totem to come out.
yeah. I mean, it's a solid record. I've been quite fortunate to have it sent to me by the powers that be at the record label. And I was gonna say, Spirit Animal is I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, it was like amazing. I was listening to it and I just lost myself in that track. And like you said, it was like kind of a Soulfly Neurosis, if you will. And I'm a fan of Neurosis. I love Through Silver and Blood, and try and remember some of their other album names, but I've got them on vinyl. So I've got these turntables behind me. I would have got them out otherwise. But I love that kind of like that sound, and that encaptured that whole thing. And you're right, the album, like it felt like two sides. Like you said, you had your A side, you had your B side, and it did feel like that. Because I really liked Ancestors as well on the B side, if you will, because that's like track.
Yeah, it was created like that, and I think to me, that's what's interesting about Totem is, the side A, and I'm gonna make a little bit of a food analogy. It's like English breakfast. It's perfect the way it is. You don't want anything. You don't want nothing fancy. No. You just want the eggs, the beans, the ham, the toast, and you're good. Don't try to put caviar. Don't fancy it up.
No.
You're gonna mess it up. So side A of Totem is nothing new. There's nothing incredible adventures about it, but it's good. It's so good. It's like powerful, heavy, grab you kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then side B to me felt like, okay, now I get to let's explore some more. And Ancestors to me was a great groove song. It's got a big groove, a good percussion part on it, and of course, like I talk a little bit about Soulfly 12. It almost became a song. I was trying to get somebody to sing on it, and of course, my first choice was Robert Smith, but I don't know how much success I would get on that. Although I've seen his bass player with the Iron Maiden shirt,
yeah,
which gives me a little bit of hope. It's at least it's metal,
yeah. I mean, you gotta ask. You have to ask. I mean, I would love to.
I ran out of time in the studio, but the idea is planted, and I think there's something in there. This gothic metal connection. There's definitely something to be explored in the future. Definitely. But Spirit Animal, that was just completely off the wall. I mean, I work on it piece by piece. The intro is 2 minutes. I did that on its own, and then the rest of the song kind of came in, and I was just putting layers and layers, and it just keep amounting more and more, and keep getting longer and longer. And then I watched this psychologist talking about, in order for a song to put you in a trance, a lot of tribal people do that, and I think that's why a lot of doom metal guys do 20-minute songs, is to get you in a fucking trance. You got to get possessed by the music. It needs to be more than 6 minutes. So I was like talking to Arthur, like, I want to do more than 6 minutes. Let's keep going. And end up being, almost 10 minutes. And it was a challenge. It was cool. I think I embraced totally out of my comfort zone. Like, I don't do long songs.
Yeah.
I don't even knew if I could do it. Like, let's just try. But I think the end result became one of those kind of fun things on the record that people are actually gonna, hopefully when they get to that point, to be something like, oh wow, I didn't see this track coming on this record, you know. A bit of a surprise in the end of the record, you know.
I mean, it certainly was, because like normally with kind of what I expect when I saw it was 10 minutes long, I expect like, you know, the 3-minute track and then a bonus track maybe at the end.
Right, yeah.
Old school style, if you will. But no, this kept going, and you're right, it put me in that zone, it put me in that trance. So you set out to do something, and it has worked on at least me. So
Thank you. That's huge to hear. I was really intrigued by this notion, you know. And the older I get, the more I kind of learn to listen to. When I was young, I didn't have patience for long songs. I hated Starway to Heaven. Hated. I could have never listened to the whole thing. Every time I put it on, after 1 minute, I skip the track. I like, let's go to Black Dog or something, you know. But now I appreciate, definitely appreciate what it takes to make a song like that.
Yeah,
it was a lot of thought process on a creation and formation, building of the song, and you got to build different. There's a tempo signature, time signatures, and all this. The long outro with the dub music.
Yeah.
The different drums. It was fun. It was definitely a fun thing to be part of it.
Oh, excellent. Well, look, I mean, anyone who's watching this, listening to, wait for the album to come out. That track is amazing.
Thank you.
It's not out till August 5th, isn't it? The album. That's what I've got.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a day after my birthday. It's my own birthday present.
Fantastic. And are you guys are coming over here, right, to England? Are you?
Hope we do it in October. I think that's like we're leaving it open right now for October and November.
Okay.
I know we have a festival in Japan in August and a festival in Australia in December, but we don't have nothing booked for October, November. So I hope it'll be Europe.
Okay, cool.
I haven't been in Europe since 2019, so I'm long overdue.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well, I'll be there as soon as you guys announce that. But no, I was going to ask you, what was it like having, like, because obviously over this last 4 bit, you've worked on a few albums, but you've also worked with your kids on music. So with this album, you've got, is it Zion is on drums, and then you work with Igor, obviously your brother, and you've got Amadeus as well with Go Ahead and Die, and he's got his own thing. And how does that feel, having your family like kind of like still within this world that you've kind of traveled through, if you will, and you're still very much part of, but now you've got your kids are coming through as well, and they're very good musicians in their own right.
Thank you.
How does that like feel? Because I've got kids of my own, they're very young, and I'd love them to go into music if they wanted to, but it's just sort of like, how, you know, you must be incredibly proud of them.
I am, and it's a bit like it's a mix of empire and mafia. Like once you get in, you can get out.
Yep.
You know, there's this unwritten law as far as they becoming heavy metal players. Like you can't quit. Now you got to stay. It's a family business. It's a Cavalera thing. You're in it. You are in it. But they were born on that, right? I mean, there's pictures of Igor and Zion sleeping on guitar cases with Tonayomi and Ozzy in the background playing. I have pictures of band guys holding Zion when he's 2 years old, Mike Patton and the Ramones, the whole Ramones band holding Zion, and he's screaming bloody murder, save me from these animals, you know. In fact, I told Gloria she should put those in a book. It would be an amazing picture book for fans to see it, you know. They were born in this life. So what I told Gloria, like, whatever they do, I just want them to have joy in what they find when they do it, you know, because I find joy in metal. I found it. And as much as a heartbreak I got with Sepultura and tragedies that come along the way, there's a lot of victories and there's a lot of triumphs, you know. So it's high and lows, and you have to, but that's life, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it's part of life. You got to deal with both. It can't, if it was all good, it'd be boring.
Yeah.
If it was all bad, it'd be terrible. But it's a bit of both. You know, of course, if they wanted to become doctors or engineers, I would have, you know, support that as well. But there's definitely a side of me in my heart that was like, yes, they're metal, they play good. They're
Yes.
good. not just they play, they're actually good enough to that I can play with them, that I, you know, I can, like, if I'm at home and I'm bored, I can call Zion, like, let's go to the gym pad and just make some noise. You know, I've done that a couple of times. Sometimes I'm just completely like in a bad mood and I want to better my mood. I call him, like, let's go to the jam pad, and I grab my guitar, you sit on the drum, and we just go at it, you know. And we did that. A lot of the writing of Totem was just me and him.
Yeah.
That's what makes this record a bit special to me, is that connection I formed with Zion, because he's very much into more classic metal. Like, his favorite band is Deftones,
Okay,
and Gojira, and Black Sabbath. You know, he loves Black Sabbath, and you know, I like a lot of more obscure, extreme kind of stuff. So the combination of that was really cool. Like, I'm pulling more for crazy extreme sound, but he's pulling more to a classic sound. So
yeah,
the combination of that was very cool, and he actually helped on the writing of the record as well, with a lot of cool ideas, time signature ideas. And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? You know, he was like, yeah, we should do something on, goes on a 5/4 instead of on a 4/4. And it's like, hey, hold on, now you're talking, you're not speaking my language anymore. Like, you have to explain to me what you want. So then he showed me like a Deftones song or a Gojira song that had this, and we did two parts of the record has different 5/7, 5/4
yeah.
time signature. That was really cool, and I like that he was, you know, forcing that out of me, because that is not really the normal stuff that I do. But I was intrigued by it, by the idea, so I ran with it, you know. So yeah, I think I'm extremely proud as a dad that I get to do that with my kid. Amadeus on Go Ahead and Die, it was an absolute joy making that record with him, like going to the desert, watching all her movies with him, doing barbecues with him, and then, you know, creating a whole record with him in a cabin in the desert was an amazing experience. You know, I wanted to form that bond with my kids, you know, so I'm very, very lucky with that.
No, it is amazing to see, and I can't wait for a sort of Cavalera family album of all of you.
Yeah, right. We already done a tour. There was a tour called Max Cavalera.
Yeah.
And it was a couple years ago, and it was Insight and Lodi Kong, Soulfly. I think we can do that in the future as well, and having you know, me and my brother and Soulfly, and Healing Magic and Insight, and maybe by then the grandkids have their own bands.
Yeah, why not? Cavalera Fest. There you go.
Even the dogs have their own bands.
Oh, that would be amazing. I don't want to keep you too much more because I know I've already got a very short time with you. But I've just got a couple of questions left, if that's all right, Max.
Of course.
Cool. What I want to find out from you, these are my sort of like standard ending questions, if you will. But what I want to know is if you could pinpoint 3 pivotal albums that have shaped your musical career. So not necessarily like the best album of a certain band, but like you heard this album at a certain time and it made you want to do, you know, made you want to be in metal, made you want to make thrash metal, made you want to make death metal, or the one that made you want to sing, play a guitar, you know, in general, or even something more recent. You've gone like, wow, what has this person done? If you could if you can pinpoint to three, that would be great.
Right. So I think we have to start with Queen Live Killers. It was the first show I saw. It was an amazing concert in Sao Paulo in a full soccer stadium. And I went the next day and bought Queen Live Killers on cassette. And what an incredible experience. They were an amazing band, amazing musicians, visually stunning. Freddie Mercury had the crowd in the palm of his hands, like nobody else's business, you know. To witness that as a young kid, and I hated music before that, so that's a huge. That's how powerful Queen was. I went from a kid that hated music to a rock and roller the next day,
amazing,
because of Queen. So I had to pick. I had to pick Queen, and then I think I had to go with Sabotage. Black Sabbath. Out of all Black Sabbath records, that's probably my favorite one, and that's difficult because Black Sabbath has so many great records. You know, Master of Reality is great. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is great.
Yeah.
Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell are great. Born Again is great, but Sabotage to me feels like it's a unique piece of music.
Yeah.
Everything is great. It's ambitious. I heard it being called the first prog metal album ever. I think that's what a lot of people call it. By definition, Sabotage is the first real prog metal record ever made. I don't know if it's true or not, but I probably agree with that.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. And then I think one of the coolest records I heard in a long time was Ride the Lightning. And I cut my hair for it. It was kind of cool. My uncle was like trying to get me to go narrow and straight, and I had long hair, and I go, well, if you cut your hair, I'll buy you an imported record that you want, you know. And I had my eye on Ride the Lightning already, you know, shiny on the store, right on the front of the store. And yeah, I cut my hair, and it's like it was a buzz cut. I look like an army freak, you know, like. but I got my hands on it, and still today I think this is an incredible record. Ride the Lightning. It doesn't get any better than that. I think for as far as that kind of music, that for the thrash world, I think that is the ultimate thrash record.
Yeah, it's the one everyone pinpoints for that thrash side of things.
It's incredible. It's an incredible, powerful record. Imagery is great. The lyrics are great. The sounds are great. And and I cut my hair for it. I don't regret. So yeah, for sure, those three records are very important in my career.
I mean, Queen, Black Sabbath. I live in the world of those bands, and they are, just absolutely. You know, I mean those albums in particular are absolutely amazing. I love those albums. And Metallica, obviously, Metallica's Metallica. You know, it's one. But finally, Max, what are your hobbies away from music? So when you're not creating all these sounds for all these bands and Soulfly and all that kind of stuff, what do you kind of do to get away from that if you need to? What is your thing?
Right, I'm not much of a video game guy. I have an old school Donkey Kong.
Cool.
That I play sometimes on an airplane. I like reading books, especially biographies.
Yeah.
I read Tor Naomi's and Al Jorgensen, and Ozzy's, and Chili Peppers. Anthony Kidd's biography was really good. I like those. You get in the mindset of the artist, and it's really good to see how they created their life. You know.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies. Actually, I'm a kind of a big fan of movies. I like a lot of classic stuff from the 70s, Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago. Stuff, it's even better now, I think, than it was back then. I was a kid when those were made, but I love those big productions, Hollywood productions of, especially like Dr. Zhivago and Lawrence of Arabia. Of course, those are Dave Lean movies, and he was a master, you know.
Yeah.
You know, of course, I watch some of the newest stuff as well, like Netflix stuff, you know, Ozarks, and one of my favorite ones ever was Breaking Bad. I absolutely love Breaking Bad. I think it's like twisted story, you know, drug mat teacher turned drug mat person to provide to his family. It's like it's a great plot, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to watch Stranger Things now. I'm a little bit in the middle of it right now. And then the other thing I really like to do is it's walking, hiking here in the desert.
Yeah.
We have a lot of hiking areas, and you go up in the mountains and you see the whole city. And I do a lot of that. Like put me in a solitude state of mind, like no people around, it's just me and nature. It was actually the inspiration for Totem was nature. It was a lot of nature. Visiting places like Superstition Mountains and Sedona and Flagstaff. There's a lot of really cool stuff in America, and of course all over the world. You know, Stonehenge and Iceland. You know, there's a lot of beautiful magic nature stuff in the world that people sometimes everybody's on their phones. Sometimes they put that phone down and go see something cool like Stonehenge.
Yeah.
If I lived in the UK, that's what I would do. I'll get in my car and I'll go drive to Stonehenge or to a castle or something, see something cool, something amazing, you know. That's about it. A little bit of painting. I like painting, kind of like also it's a bit of a hobby therapy. Cool. I paint this canvas that we kind of sell them on tours, and fans love to get it, you know. But yeah, I have like a weird collection of headphones.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird hobby I picked up a couple of years ago. Now my wall looks like the Guitar Center wall. You know, it's like there's like 40 pairs of headphones on my wall. A lot of people that know me, my birthdays, they always give me headphones and stuff, and so it's good. It's fun. People are collecting baseball cards and this different stuff, you know, games. And I was like, I'm gonna collect headphones. I don't know, like what good can come out of this, but it'll be a cool collection one day.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll
pass it on. I'll pass it on to my kids.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's like I said, I'll be intrigued to see that. And just going back on your like autobiography, like biography readings. I've just finished Gary Newman's autobiography. It was really good. I think you might enjoy it if you like the 80s kind of like goth sort of sound, like the guy that he kind of was a part of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really good. I just finished that one, so it was I just thought I'd recommend.
That's a good tip. That's a good tip. I might picked up on that.
Well, Max, I'm going to let you go because I've kept you far too long. But thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Good luck with the record. I hope to see you guys over here in Europe. Hopefully later this year, if not next year.
All right, my man.
But you take it easy. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.